Hey Run Junkies, Rundisney's Star Wars Dark Side Half Marathon Weekend is coming up next week. And for those of you who still have questions about how this event works, I'm here with a few tips, or maybe even a battle plan on how to defeat the First Order. If you've participated in past Rundisney events, you already have a general idea about how these weekends work. And the tips I will be presenting in this video are basically appropriate for almost any Rundisney event weekend at Walt Disney World. However, this April event is a little different in how it's laid out and how it operates. So for you Rundisney veterans, especially of the Star Wars weekend events, this will serve as a good reminder. And for those of you new to Rundisney events, these are the tips that will get you through the weekend successfully. Tip number one, if you take nothing away from this, please take the time to read the event guide. That's the bottom line here, you guys. Get online. I'm leaving a link in the description below. I get 90% of my information for these videos from the event guide. So take the time, really read through it and get all of the information you need. It has everything in there. Most importantly, it has your schedule, your start times, your corral information, your course maps, and your transportation information. Tip number two, print your waiver out ahead of time. You will not get an email from active.com or Rundisney with your corral and bib information, so go to the Star Wars event page on the Rundisney.com website. Go to the corrals, bibs, waivers tabs and follow them all the way through until you find the information you need. Print out that waiver, sign it, and bring it with you. If you don't do that ahead of time, it's not a big deal because they do have printer kiosks on site, but it's just one less line for you to stand in. You will need that waiver and your photo ID to pick up your bib. Take advantage of the transportation options, especially if you're staying on site. I've never rented a car when I've gone down for a Rundisney weekend, and the transportation is very efficient considering how many people they have to push around the parks and how quickly they need to do so. Speaking of transportation, know that transportation schedule. All of the races start at 5:30 a.m., which means the 5K and 10K buses start running at 3:30 a.m. and the half marathon will start running at 3 a.m. It's about that simple, but if you have any questions about the resort transportation, your best bet is to go to your hotel concierge or the transportation desk at your resort hotel. They will have details specific to that resort hotel. Another thing about transportation, plan a lot of time before your race to get to the start line and after the race, after you finish, to get back to your resort hotel. Even if you are staying near the event venue, especially after the race, those buses don't just stop at one resort hotel. They'll stop at a few and yours might be later on the schedule. So if you have advanced dining reservations, make sure you have enough time after you finish and before your reservation. Last thing about transportation, be on that first bus before the start if you can. Race buses leave right at their published time, and they might even leave a few minutes early if the bus is completely full so they can get another bus in. Remember, they have tens of thousands of people to funnel through all of these resort hotels into the start and finish lines. And they only have about 2 hours to do it to get everybody to the start on time. There isn't a lot of room for a lot of mishaps, so try to get there early. Okay, now is the time to obsess about the weather. Spoiler alert, I'm guessing it's gonna be kind of warm. As of this morning, I've been seeing reports that the highs will be in the mid to upper 80s, but anything could happen, which means now is the time to hydrate. Here's an easy rule of thumb. Take your body weight in pounds, cut that in half, and drink that number of ounces of water per day, every day up until your race day. Avoid excessive amounts of caffeine and alcohol in the days leading up to your race. Carry water during your race if you've been training that way already, and start drinking that water now. Right now, go. So if it's gonna be warm, what are you gonna pack? Everything. Plan for rain, plan for hot, plan for cold, plan for everything. Have options for your race day so you will be comfortable no matter what Mother Nature decides to throw at you. Okay, so if reading the event guide is my absolute #1 tip, this is the second most important tip that I could give you, and that is to know your expo. If there's one thing that Rundisney changes dramatically for every race weekend, it's the layout of the expo. Expo and Big Pickup is probably the toughest course you will have to navigate throughout the weekend. Tens of thousands of runners, spectators and their families, sponsors, vendors, all of these people are converging on ESPN Wide World of Sports. There are 5 venues at ESPN and you might travel to up to 3 of them, maybe even all 5, depending on how you treat the packet pickup and Expo. There is so much happening, especially on that first day and a half or so at the Expo. So go in with a plan. Like I said, if you're going to read the event guide, go back in and really pay attention to the layout of the Expo. Figure out where you need to go for what. For your packet pickup, if you are participating in the Kessel Run, if you want to go to the Rundisney merchandise store, if you need runner relations, make sure you know exactly where everything is before you go into the Expo and have a plan when you do that. Star Wars 10K and Half Marathon are point-to-point races, which means that your start and your finish lines are in 2 different places. If you are bringing in a gear bag, you will check it at the Magic Kingdom lot for the start of the races, and they will truck them back to the Epcot parking lot. So try not to leave anything of high value in that gear bag. Also, a point-to-point race means that you will park your car at Epcot near the finish line. Then you will take a shuttle from Epcot to the Magic Kingdom parking lot and the start line, which means you will have to plan a little extra time for that. As the event guide states, maintain a minimum 16 minutes per mile pace. Yes, depending on the corral, you might have a little bit more of a buffer, but maintaining that 16-minute per mile pace, given that you are healthy, well-nourished, and well-hydrated, should get you to the finish line. And pace yourself. Do the math. Figure out how long it's going to take you to finish that particular race. Take your longest run and the average pace during that long run and calculate your finish time based on that pace. I personally like to add 1 to 2 minutes per mile just for the bathroom breaks, but then if I know I'm stopping for a lot of things, character stops, photo opportunities, and all of that, I might slow that pace down to maybe even 5 minutes longer per mile. A quick note about photos. Don't hog that spotlight. You have about 30 seconds per character stop once you get in front of the camera, and then you might get 5 seconds, maybe a handful of shots if you are getting a shot from a PhotoPass photographer in action. Plan accordingly for that. The PhotoPass photographers typically have bright lights hanging above them so they can get a really good, well-lit shot of you, but I am hearing reports, and I'm seeing it for myself, that PhotoPass photographers are kind of cracking down on how close you can get to the characters if you're not standing in line for a PhotoPass. If you're just stopping for a quick selfie before you move on, they're not allowing you to get as close as you used to be able to get. So please be respectful of the PhotoPass field of view and don't stop in the middle of the course to take that selfie. Thank the volunteers and be nice. Shouldn't have to elaborate on that. Another quick tip, and maybe a shameless plug, check out my past videos. I have a whole Rundisney playlist and quite a few that are specific to events, and these event guides are extremely thorough. Not a lot has changed in the event guides since Star Wars Dark Side last year. Oh, there are a couple of course corrections though. The 10K looks only slightly different in a couple of spots, but the half marathon, most notable is that the change in Animal Kingdom, instead of going through Asia, through Harambe Market into Asia, you're traveling down into Pandora and then out of the park. Challenge medals, including your Kessel Run challenge medal, may be picked up at the finish line after the half marathon. However, at the Expo, when you pick up your bib, head over to the Kessel Run challenge table. They will give you a wristband that will give you access and will let people know that you can pick up that challenge medal. And this is only for those of you who have finished the Star Wars virtual half marathon. Tip 19, ask questions here in the comments or over on my Grace and Pretzels Facebook page. I am more than happy to answer whatever I can to help you get through this weekend successfully. Tip number 20, enjoy the race, have fun, and be safe. This one is on my bucket list, folks, so I have some serious fear of missing out. My question for you today is this: are you headed to Walt Disney World in Florida to take on the First Order, or are you planning on joining them? Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions in the comment section down below. And as always, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more running and Run Disney stuff from Running with Grace. And if you want to see the entire library of Run Disney videos, click on this card right here. But that is it for me today, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Go find your awesome, and may the force be with you.